Well, here in the capital of South Carolina, Columbia, you could be forgiven for forgetting that there is a Republican primary election happening on Saturday. We haven't seen too many signs around the city. However, on the drive in from the airport through the rural areas surrounding the capital city, it was a totally different story. And surprisingly, a lot more Nikki Haley signs in people's front gardens than Donald Trump. Of course, Nikki Haley was a two-time governor of this state, and a lot of people have very good memories of her in this state. And of course, it is her home state. She's been looking forward to running here, and she's been really rallying here for the last month, ever since the New Hampshire primary. However, some voters who are voting for Trump feel like Nikki Haley abandoned them after her term as governor, and when she went to the national stage, that she effectively abandoned them when she went on to her ambassadorial role and failed to maintain those contacts with the local support. And also a key to that also is the Republican Party as well, the officials at this state level that she lost contact with and lost connections with. So they say that they felt abandoned by Nikki Haley. And indeed, the state's GOP establishment has turned against her in this race. The senator for South Carolina, one of them at least, Tim Scott, has not only endorsed Donald Trump, is effectively running alongside him. He hasn't quite been named running mate yet, but Donald Trump has hinted at that numerous times. Whether that happens or not remains to be seen. But also, the governor of South Carolina has also gone against Nikki Haley and supported Donald Trump as well. Donald Trump then vastly ahead in the polls, much as he was in Iowa and in New Hampshire, around 30 points ahead of Nikki Haley. And voters say that they like his unconventional stance. They like the fact that he's not a traditional politician, that he doesn't speak in traditional politician parlance, and that they are actually motivated by the trials that he is facing. Those 4 criminal cases that stand against him, the 91 criminal indictments, actually only further light their fire for Donald Trump, they've said. And of course, the key issue for them as well is the border. That is something that has been dominating national politics in the United States for the last couple of months, and they want Donald Trump's stronger border policy. Of course, they are repeating the line that he made famous in 2016, build the wall.
Now, you mentioned those polls and that lead. It is looking very likely, bar a miracle for Nikki Haley, she will likely lose this primary. But just like after her loss in New Hampshire, she doesn't seem to be pointing to any signs that she might be dropping out. Is she really in there for the long haul?
Well, there's a saying in American politics that people don't drop out when they lose. They only drop out when the cash dries up. And Nikki Haley certainly has a lot of cash left in the bank. In fact, January was her biggest fundraising month to date. $16.5 million was put into her coffers in January. And we saw another injection just a few weeks ago in the immediate aftermath of when Donald Trump attacked her serviceman husband for being MIA. She earned over $5 million in the 24 hours after that attack from Donald Trump. And that is outstripping Trump himself, it must be said as well. Now, her donors, many of whom are business people and establishment, some of the former establishment Republicans, they are backing Nikki Haley because they think that she is a much steadier hand than Donald Trump, and the world economy would do better in the knowledge that Nikki Haley is the president, should she win both the nomination and, of course, the presidency as well. Now, regardless of the result that happens here in South Carolina, Nikki Haley has said that she's going to stay in the race through to Super Tuesday on March 5th. She says so far only 3 votes will have voted by the end of this primary, and that more of America has the right to decide who their candidate should be. Now, of course, she does face an uphill battle. This is perhaps one of the states where she has most favorable odds, and she's still trailing Trump by 30 points. But she'll be hoping that she pulls off something similar to what she pulled off in New Hampshire, where she was vastly behind in the polls. But when election night came, she managed to narrow that gap, and she's hoping for a better showing here, hoping that maybe Trump comes unstuck further down the line, whether that's something medical or whether it's something to do with one of his legal trials. Of course, there's a lot of jeopardy that Donald Trump is in as well. She has tried to move herself more to the center of the race to try to offer an alternative to Donald Trump. She's been unapologetic about her pro-life views and said that she's less restrictive than some, but it must be said she also sided with an Alabama court recently which declared that frozen embryos embryos during IVF treatments are effectively children. That really has become a new frontier of reproductive rights here, something that the Republicans seem to be losing on in multiple battleground states. But for Haley, she says it's a personal race why she is in this. It's two candidates, Joe Biden and Donald Trump, both elderly candidates. She says she wants a fresh alternative, and she said, I don't care about a political future. If I did, I would have been out by now. I'm doing this for my kids. I'm doing this for your kids and your grandkids. Whether that is enough remains to be seen.